Hello, my name's Eric. I'm volunteered with the data science working group here actually at Galvanize a few weeks ago, early last month for a challenge sponsored by the State Department and, oops, a little bit early, and Booz Allen Hamilton, and so they gave us some data about Myanmar and asked us to figure out, basically, could we predict where to invest private money and public money? Because this country of Myanmar has a goal to electrify 100% of their population by a certain date. I think it was 2030 or something like that. But so here's just an overview. I stole these slides from another presentation, so just be honest. This is just an overview of the data science working group. I don't want to show up Jude. He'll be talking about it later. We actually had a pretty big team who volunteered. Not everybody was there every day, but most everybody showed up. Then I got stuck with doing the presentation, so. But anyway, no, I'm happy to do it. So basically, you know, some general questions. It wasn't entirely clear when we started what the goal was, and we had to figure out kind of what the goal was. There were a number of subject matter experts that gave us some expertise from a variety of different perspectives. Some people were from private industry looking to invest in renewable energy in the areas where grid expansion wasn't going to happen. There were representatives from the government who wanted to invest money in areas where it was unlikely that private investment would be used because they had limited funds and they wanted to try to get everybody connected to some sort of electricity. Yeah, so there's a random one there, but anyway. So we were actually just given access to a whole data system. And we had to actually identify what the data sources were that we wanted to use, and then the features and things like that. Fortunately, we figured out, you know, a little ways into it that there was the first census in 30 years had been conducted in 2014. So that was something to work with, although, you know, more than 1 year would have been nice for a predictive model. But so we didn't have a lot of stuff to train on, but there were a large number of variables. So there's 445 variables, and they were basically at the, I didn't put that in there, township level. So we had states and townships, and so a couple of different levels for the different observations of all the variables. The split, so I put the rural-urban split there. That was just a quick calculation. Basically because we were identifying rural areas. Specifically, we wanted to do, so the urban areas tended to be already electrified, so that's good. So anyway, the two main types of data sources were the census data and also some geo data, as you can see in the slide here, that has current electrification and power lines, which don't cover the whole country. So pretty much all there is to that. I took the liberty of doing some like sort of broken down density plots of basically the predicted variable, which is the solar is sort of a placeholder for, there are more detailed types of things like microgrids that could be done. But for general renewable energy, there's already some data about solar installations. And so basically that's just a density plot, but it's broken down by state, and then you could break those states down further, potentially. So, I had some notes, but that's all right. Anyway, potentially you could actually plot these two variables for each state or township to look at how they overlap, because so these are lighting substitutes on the right. So those are all the other types of lighting, various things like kerosene and that's it. Oh. What? 30 seconds, okay. So basically, these are input variables that we looked at first. Most of them are demographic, economic, and lighting substitute to account for things that would be used instead of, so price comparisons. So some specifics on the data set, checking it for linearity for the linear model, normality of the distribution, the Cook's distance for specific observations that had an outsized effect on the model. So those are probably biasing for particular things. So generally, we created a pretty rough predictive model that needs to be refined. We need more data. We need to identify specific things that might not be in the data set right now. But so the main idea was to score townships by their potential for renewable energy investment, private investment. And then a next step on top of that would probably be to sort of visualize that on a map along with some other factors like the existing grid infrastructure. And basically the idea is this could be used in any developing country where they want to do a similar thing. So if there were other census data for another country that had multiple years, then it would be easier to do a similar process. So there you go. Questions? Nope. Good. That's fine. Being the last speaker, I don't take any offense.